when you say my cello is made in country, it doesn't matter the maker. Before you even know where it is made, I believe that there, in my experience as well, there is an inherent value of just being from that country.
Yes and no. You just have to imagine, people say, Cremona, it's just enough that you put Cremona in and then it's expensive. I think that competition, for instance, in Cremona is so high that if there is Cremona inside, the ones who made it are under such a big pressure because there are so many people in such a small town and they make their living, that you would actually, if you want to survive in making, it's not enough to come to Cremona. It would be actually easier to go to a different city.
Okay.
There are so many makers that it's not easy to make a living here in Cremona. So for all those who believe that just Italy or just Cremona inside is a runner and is selling like a warm panino, it's completely different issue. Yeah? You see it from the point of view of cello makers who are not in Cremona. I just would wish those makers to come here and to try to make a living, and then they realize what it actually means and what it takes to be a violin maker in Cremona, because it's not this easy.
True. So what I'm hearing is, just if you were to get an instrument made here, it already shows that you have a certain quality.
Yes. And even if Ludovico, he was now here the waiter of the bar here, and he was my student, and he just told me that he won silver medal in a certain competition, is a waiter here, that shows you already how difficult it is. First, make a violin. Second, to make silver medal, and then third, make a living of making violins. So even if he's good making good instruments, he cannot make a living. So it takes a lot to make a living here in Cremona, in the mecca of violin making of the world. Yeah.
And so second in place, I think it's a tie between France and Germany.
Yeah.
Like if you have a cello made in France or Germany, but I think there's more makers in Germany. I just think there is. In my experience, I've not seen many cellos of like sub 10,000 made in France. It's just they're not often. They exist, but not as much as Germans. There's much more German ones I've seen.
Now, made new ones in Germany right now, probably more.
That's made modern instruments
but
today.
In the past, yeah.
So I would say, like, because of its rarity, maybe French would be second place just because. But then again, I wouldn't know. So I'd support German and France as second. Third is interesting. I say the US. The US would be third, because there are some makers in the US that make good instruments. Yeah. They can't, because it's American made, they can't really. If I just said to you, I have a German cello, I have a Italian cello, and I have an American cello. In your mind, you have 3 steps. You're going to put Italy at the top, you're going to put German in the middle, and American below. You're just going to. It's just a psychological, for me, it's a psychological ranking we have. In China, we're going to put below American. Japanese, we're going to maybe put it.
I'm not so. No,
So
I think Americans are actually. Right now, there is a big gap between America and Europe, and the Americans do their own things, and we are a little bit.
What do you mean by that? There's a big gap between the United States and Europe.
I don't know why we don't sell more in the United States right now. But in America, master-made violin, let's say, is starting at, to be considered by a professional musician, 40,000. Yeah. Otherwise, they don't even look at it. Here in Europe, would say 20,000 up, and then they consider it already. So it's a little bit different here between Europe and America. And the Americans have a very high level, because the makers in America had a different culture of facing certain problems, of learning everybody from each other, organizing certain workshops regarding sound adjustment, regarding varnishing. Yeah. They face the whole thing different, a little bit more open. I admire the American way in learning and from each other and collaborating. And we are a little bit, from this point of view, a little bit, different and a little bit more, yeah,